just joining us, we started this conversation last Wednesday, and it's themed with this thought, living inspired, and then the subject or the subtitle would be to include God in your daily living. Cool? So that's what we're talking about. That's what we started last week, and now I want to ask you some questions to kind of get started on this topic. First off, how many of you would say that there are certain environments that make you uncomfortable? Real quick, uncomfortable people, raise your hand. Yep. How many of them is like you hate it whenever there's crowd participation and you're asked to raise your hand? Is that uncomfortable for you? Raise your hand. Okay, good. Way to overcome that. How many of you would say it's really the weather? Like how many hot weather people? You hate the hot weather. Hot weather makes you uncomfortable. Yeah. Hey, welcome to the South. Yep. And how many of you cold weather? Cold weather makes you uncomfortable. So sorry for what you're going through right now. We'll pray afterward, Lord, if you would just bring some sunshine. Maybe, let's see, what else can make us uncomfortable? How about crowds? How many of you do not like crowds, don't like being in crowds? Yeah. Hashtag Coronavirus Chronicles. Like, oh, I know that they are going to be, I'm going to leave here with a virus, right? That you just too many people or something. How many people, you're really extroverted and small crowds? You're uncomfortable with small crowds, like you want a big crowd. Anyone like that? That's cool. You like big crowd? Okay, cool. Let's see what else we got. Last one. Serious conversations. How many people are very uncomfortable in a serious conversation? Raise your hand. Awesome. Everyone that raised your hand, I need to have a serious conversation with you after this session. I'm just kidding. That's so terrible, right? So with that in mind, I just want us to really talk about being comfortable. Being comfortable. Somebody say comfortable. Comfortable. Okay, cool. I need some assistance to help me with this message. Who could help me out? Be a volunteer for me real quick. Yes, Caleb, come on up. I appreciate you, man. What a guy. Man, I want to be like you when I grow up. Awesome. Look at that. Yeah, what a dude. What a dude. One more time for Caleb. Yeah, this is going to be on the YouTubes later. The YouTubes. I'm going to let you sit down right here, man. I want you to get comfortable. Can I get you anything? All right, cool. Good. I'm glad you said that because we're out. So real quick, in this conversation, I want to talk about how comfortable we tend to become. So if you're taking notes and you want to write down the title of this conversation, it is How Comfortable Are You? How comfortable are you? Okay, so while you're writing that down, let's kind of begin this conversation. I'm going to sit right here. Is that cool, Caleb? We good? All right, cool. That's 6 feet of grace, okay, want to kind of pose this thought to you guys, that when it comes to being comfortable, I'm not very motivated or inspired when I'm comfortable. Anyone else like that? So for example, have you ever sat in a room and thought to yourself, it's just very comfortable in here. I don't need to do anything. I don't need to change the thermostat. I don't need to put on an extra layer. This is not the environment to take a layer off, all right? So please don't do that. But I've never been in a room and thought it's just so comfortable and thought about when was I last so comfortable like this before? And I carried on my conversation with Caleb about, man, the last time I was this comfortable, shoot, I can't even remember, bruh. Like, I'm not going to have that conversation. But what conversation I would have is I can tell you when I was very uncomfortable. I was so uncomfortable, you know what I had to do? I had to change something. Like I had to go change the thermostat. I had to go change put some clothes on. I had to change something because I was so uncomfortable with what was around me. Have you ever felt uncomfortable real quick? Yeah. It's like, Dad, if you could please just cut the air up, cut the air down, right? Anything, but I'm so uncomfortable. And Dad's like, it's my house, I pay the bills. I understand that. But I'm so uncomfortable. But get this, you being uncomfortable, at least it inspired you to change something, right? So in light of that, if you could write this down, but I'm inspired when I don't like the conditions around me or the conditions within me. I am most inspired when I don't like the surrounding conditions that are around me or the conditions within me. If I've been in a bad mood and I know I'm in a bad mood, I try to do something to change that mood. When I'm already tired and I know I'm in a bad mood and my son wants to ask me another question, I have to check myself and try to do my best to say, yes, son, you can be a T-Rex dinosaur, right? Yes, we can fight in T-Rex style in the living room, right? I've got to try to change something within me, but Caleb, I'm inspired because I've become uncomfortable with what was within me, my mood, my attitude, so I had to change it. Somebody say change. Yeah, when I'm comfortable, shoot, I don't want to change anything. Hey, 5 more times just like it is, but when I'm uncomfortable, I need to change something. So I want you to look at the environments that both me and Caleb are in right now. Caleb, are you comfortable? You a little bit? Cool. I'm so comfortable over here. I can lean on this table, right? I'm so good right now. I can lean toward God's word. I can lean on my Savior, right? I can lean on some things, but let's talk about Caleb's environment real quick. It's a little messy over there. Caleb's environment, he's surrounded by let's just say some trash, okay? There's some trash around Caleb. He's got some trashy shoes around him. Those are my shoes, so I can say that. He's got some good shoes on, but he's got some trashy ones around him. I did wear those clothes earlier today, so be careful. But there's just a lot going on in Caleb's area. So I want you to imagine that, let's pretend that I stopped this conversation and we had a bus parked outside and we all got on the bus. And I said, hey, we're going to insert your address. And the bus driver takes us to your house and we all go upstairs into your room. And I just want to know real quick, don't say it out loud, what would we find? Would it look more like this? Yeah, I was just studying before squad. I was just really trying to get all caught up in his word. Or would it look more like, we got boxes like this was your Christmas present at Christmas and it's still on the floor. Heaven knows where the gift is. But there's just clothes everywhere, right? So there's 2 different environments. And again, we got to ask that question, how comfortable are you? But guys, we got to be honest. This is squad. We can be honest because we can say this. Check this out. Isn't it true that we tend to stay comfortable in bad conditions? When the stuff surrounding us isn't that healthy, we tend to just kind of linger there. Why? Here's some reasons why. Because it's familiar. You know that you should have broke up with him already, but it's too familiar. I can't break in a new boyfriend we only got a couple months left anyway. I'm going to just ride this out, and then we're going to do the whole summer goodbye, and it'll be keep in touch. I'm not so much, right? I'm going to just do it that way. But it's just so familiar, so we linger in what is so familiar just simply because we're used to it. You're used to how people talk to you with that negative tone, so now you it's your inner voice now. It's familiar to you, so you're comfortable there. Or check this one out. What about those things that are just entertaining? You know that the conversation you got caught up in with your friends, it took a turn and it started to make you uncomfortable and you didn't actually like some of the words and language they used, but let's be real, it was entertaining. It was kind of funny. So you didn't say anything. You didn't correct your boy about what he said and actually give him some facts because you actually read the book and you read the news article. It's hey, actually this happened. But you were just entertained by it. So I'm not going to change anything because I'm comfortable where I'm entertained. And so we tend to stay in bad conditions because we're comfortable. So tonight's conversation, I just wanted to ask you, are you comfortable where you are? And it could be a variety of things. Are you comfortable with your GPA? Ooh, all right. Are you comfortable in your relationship with whoever you're dating? Are you comfortable with your parents' relationship? Right? Are you comfortable with how often you talk to your grandparents? I've got to raise my hand on that one. I'm not very comfortable with that. And when I get uncomfortable, I'm now inspired to do something about it. So tonight we're going to leave here all flustered and just caught up. You're get in the car. It's you just shotgunned a Red Bull. Your parents will be hey, how was it? It was great. I got to go make some changes, right? Because you're so fired up right now. That's the goal. So let's get there. So check this out. So Caleb is over here in a bad situation. Would you agree? And how many of us, come on now, we're so bad for this. Squad, please don't be this person, okay? After today, you can't go over to Jack Britt or Southview or 71st or Hope County, wherever you are. You can't do this anymore, okay? But don't be the friend that's over here in a decent situation yelling at the other friends dude, why don't you clean up your room, dude? What is this? What is going on in your life? Do you not see all this garbage, this trash? Don't do that. Wouldn't it be easier? Wouldn't it be more, let's say, inspiring if I said, hey, yo, Caleb, man, dang, hey, I see what you got going on here. Dude, your style is way put together. Like the way that you put your fit together, I know that you have some style about you. There's not a lot of stylish about this stuff, man, so I had to be the friend to call it out, but here's what I want to do. Will you come sit with me? How about you just like, you want to come sit over at my spot for a little bit? And so I'm going to say, like, just come walk with me, Caleb, so you can get on up and let's just walk with me, okay? And we'll walk over here like, how are you doing? Good? Awesome. You have a seat right here. This is my favorite chair, dude. My favorite chair right there. You doing good, though? That's awesome, man. I'm so glad to hear that. So I see that, yeah, you got some nice, look at that taste, though, if these really were your shoes from, like, 5th grade or something. Like, look at it. Look at that style, man. Like, dude, I remember you wearing these pants, dude. That fit was so clean, awesome. Dude. I wish I could be like you. I wish I could be like you. Man, just so good. So your room environment, dude, like you have a big room. You have a nice room. I mean, it's got some stuff everywhere, but that's no big deal. All it takes is a little bit of effort, man. How are you doing? Can I get you anything? That's good because we're out. So it's so awesome, though, man, that you are here right now hanging out. We haven't hung out in a while. Man, and now all of a sudden, do you notice that I didn't ask him to do anything but get comfortable where I'm comfortable? I just wanted to change your perspective that it doesn't have to be like this. I didn't have to condemn you for letting it get like this. I didn't have to crack jokes on you to let it end up like this. I just wanted you to experience what I've been experiencing. And while we did that, I took you in a conversation and a walk with me closer to God's Word. And now, without asking you to do anything, I didn't ask you to bring your chair over to me or anything like that. It invites me to enter a conversation with you about something that I'm inspired by. So is it cool if I tell you this story that I heard at this crazy, awesome youth group in Fayetteville called Squad? Big deal out there in Fayetteville. But this crazy youth pastor one night was talking about this dude that was demon-possessed. Have you ever seen anyone demon-possessed? You don't know any Duke fans? I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Cut the tape. But check this out. This youth pastor told this story about how Jesus went on this trip, and it involved this demon-possessed man. But the theme of it was like comfortable. Like just how comfortable so many people tended to be in this like crazy story. So can I tell it to you? Cool. Hey, you can read along with us if you want to. Mark chapter 4 is where we're going to start. We're going to end up in chapter 5. Real quick, show of hands. How many people have already read Mark chapter 5 this week between last week and this week? Awesome. Cool. Same 3.5% as the last group. That's awesome. Hey, you still have another 7 days. Go ahead and read it. And then chapter 10 next week, okay? But now let's get to chapter 5, but we have to start in chapter 4. Because before you get to the text, you need context. Can you hear me? Right, can somebody shout me down in the back that's been to a Pentecostal church? Just kidding. And that's it. Anyone fall out? All right, here we go. So it begins with chapter 4, verse 35. Very short. Check this out. That day, this was a day where Jesus fed the multitude of people, did a lot of teaching and preaching. That day, evening came. It was nighttime. He said to his disciples, those 12, let us go over to the other side. And they would go through a storm. You've heard this story. They had to get through a storm, and they were all freaking out, we're going to die. And Jesus was sleep. He was slumping. He was comfortable. He was so comfortable on that rockety boat, right? So anyways, they get to the other side. But here's what I need you to know about the other side, Caleb. The other side was full of people who were nothing like the disciples. The other side where they were going was a bunch of people who were not Jewish. They either believed in no God or they believed in a lot of gods. And that's where Jesus wanted to get to. So he gets in the boat, and they're going to the other side, okay? And when they get to the other side, it was so night and day, if you will. It was going to Jack Britt, but then having to go over to Southview for a visit. It's we wouldn't do that. Ew, stay away. Why would we do that? So that's what's happening, and Jesus ends up there, and I want to tell you the story about what happens when he gets there. When he lands, the boat gets to the land. Jesus gets out of the boat. Check this out, verse 2 of chapter 5. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an impure spirit came from the tombs to meet him. Translation, this man is demon-possessed, and he came from the tombs. Now, again, if we got on the boat and went to your house and we went to your bedroom, it might be in disarray. but at least it won't have tombstones in loving memory of, right? Like a clean room. Like it wouldn't have that. This man lived in the graveyard. So real quick, squad, can you like lean into this? How in the world would this man live in tombs unless he was comfortable living in tombs? So Jesus gets to this place and he runs into a guy who is comfortable living in a graveyard among dead things. Now, you would say that is so weird and so strange, but didn't we just discuss how in our lives we tend to stay surrounded by things that we're comfortable with, like bad relationships, bad conversations, bad habits, but it's familiar, or it's entertaining, or it helps me feel desired, so I'm going to stay right here. And that man stayed among the dead things. But check this out. He ran up to Jesus. So a man with an impure spirit, he's demon-possessed, and living in the tombs, runs up to Jesus. And this demon-possessed man, the demons knew exactly who Jesus was. And they kind of carry on this conversation. And this man was demon-possessed to the fact that he would do things such as yell out at night because his emotions came over him. He was chained hand and foot, but he would break the chains, meaning he didn't put the chains on him. Other people were putting the chains on him, trying to restrain him so he wouldn't harm anyone. He would also cut himself. He would cut himself among these tombs, trying to feel something because he had no one. And that's where he was most comfortable. So now get this. Verse 10. Jesus, in a conversation with this guy, says, "What's your name?" So real quick, fellas in the room, we're going to talk about, love, sex, and dating in February, but just real quick, a great way to start a conversation with a girl you're interested in, say, "Hey, my name is," what's your name? Great way to start a conversation. Don't compliment any kind of physical feature of hers. Ladies, if he does, 180, go the other way, okay? But just ask for the name before you try to get the number, okay? Know who you're calling so that when they pick up, you know who you're asking for, okay? All right, so now back to this one. So he says, "What is your name?" And get this. Oh, man, this isn't like our main message, but it resonates so well. Here's how the man responds. He says, "My name is Legion." Do we have any legions in the room? Real quick, legions? We have a Legion Road in Hope Mills, but like legions? No. "My name is Legion." Here's why. For we are many. This man was identifying himself based off of the condition that was going on inside of himself. How many times do you have a negative self-talk because someone has spoken over you, or you have so many bad days that you're now trying to accumulate those into a name for yourself? So for example, if I'm a baseball player and I did bad at baseball practice, I struck out 5 times, I had 16 errors, and I'm just thinking, I'm a failure. And I name myself Failure. And my next at bat, I know it's going to be a failure anyways. Why even try? I'm a failure. Or you had studied for the test, but then when you got there, it just for some reason escaped your mind, and you got the F on the test, and now all day, all you can think of in chemistry, I failed chemistry, I'm going to fail at life, I'm not going to have the GPA, I'm not going to get to the college I want to, I'm not going to marry the boo I want to, I'm a failure. So it's easy to look at this guy's story and say, that is so weird and outdated, it has nothing to do with me. But how many of you lay in bed at night and you would say that you characterize yourself by a negative name that no one else has called you, but you allow yourself to call you that? And you assume other people see that in you, but you've never even had the conversation. And I have this negative self-talk, and guess what happens? After I have that conversation with myself enough, I get comfortable surrounded by the trash around me. And now I believe I'll never amount to anything. And I'm going to get comfortable because it's familiar. And I'm going to stay right here and live uninspired. But that's not our story. So check this out. The end of that verse, he says, the man, the demon-possessed man, begged. Somebody say begged. He begged again and again, meaning that I didn't just say, "Hey, Jesus, please," and then moved on. It was like begging, like, "Please, Jesus, please," again and again. "Do not send me," or them, "out of the area. Don't send us out of the area." And now here's what's interesting. He just said that he's legion, which means many. Matthew tells the same story, and there's another guy who's with him, but he's not as bad off. So that's why Mark's gospel just look and focuses on this guy, because he's the one that's more dramatic, the one that's really going through some stuff. But get this, question for you, squad. He says, please don't send us out of the area. Real quick, if you have a moment to ask the creator of the world for anything, any request, what might you insert as your request there? Because I got to be honest with you. I'm going to ask for the lotto numbers, okay? I'm going to ask for the Lambo with my name etched in. When I open the door, I want my name to appear at the bottom. I'm going to ask for a lot of things. But this man simply wanted to not have to leave that area. Why did he not want to leave that area? He was too comfortable. The demons inside of him were comfortable in that area. Now, why that area? Verse 35, chapter 4, that's right. Whenever they went to the other side where no one there was Jewish, they weren't worshiping God, or at least not the God. They were worshiping all these different gods. So naturally, the demons would be very comfortable in that area. And when you're comfortable, I am uninspired to change anything. But we got to keep going, okay? So then they have this conversation. They kind of like negotiate, okay? And Jesus, they say, don't let us leave the area. And they said, hey, how about those pigs over there? And Jesus like, well, I don't eat pork anyway. Cool, go be about it. And the demons leave the man and go into the pigs. And then the pigs, oink, oink, they run off this cliff into the water. They drown. And I would think, yay, great time to have a barbecue. But not this area, okay? These pigs represent a large portion of their economy. Yeah, so I know you go to the store now, it's like, oh, sorry, we're out, distribution issues. That's what just happened to this area in one night. But they accounted for about like millions of dollars, it's like said to be, of their income. So your bank account just got changed, okay? Now I'm uncomfortable. And so were they. So some people who witnessed this go running back to the villages. Hey, y'all, the pigs that we invested in, they gone, man. You got to come see this. Oh, yeah, and that one dude that always be going crazy, Jamal, man, he is going off. But now he's back. He's good. He's all like sitting there calm. He's healed. But the pigs are dead, right? And they all come out to see what took place. And they saw the man who was living among the tombs and demon-possessed, now sitting of right mind. And they're like, where are the pigs? What happened here? And all of a sudden they were so afraid because they knew what Jesus had done for you, yay, but the pigs. You just ruined our economy. What we were most familiar with, what we were entertained by, and what we desired, you just got rid of that. We don't care about this one person's life. We're more concerned about the money. That's me adding into it. But check this out. The next verse that we'll look at, verse 17. Then the people that came to investigate what happened began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. Let's run it back. Jesus went to the other side. You got this demon that's comfortable in that area. And then you've got these groups of people who are now saying, Jesus, you need to leave because we're not comfortable with you in our area. Just in your life, just don't answer this out loud, but in your life, squad, is there any area where you're uncomfortable with Jesus being in that area? Nah, Josh, I love me some Jesus. I got me a chain and everything. Yeah, and bro, I'm coming here every Wednesday. This is the spot. I mean, I don't want him to be in my dating life. Like whenever I go to ask a girl, I'm like, hey, what's your name? What's your name? Let's switch numbers and all that. I don't ever say like, hey, I'm a Christian, and so there's some things in our relationship that I don't want us to do. Like we don't want it to get physical, a little smooch here, but like we can't do any of that, stuff that you hear about, on the internet, like in the Disney Discovery Channel. We can't be doing all that, right? I don't ever have that conversation. I don't invite them to church. No. If we're going to read a book, it's not going to be the Bible. I'd be Harry Potter. I mean, that's pretty good stuff. Go read some comic books, get caught up on that Spider-Man universe, but I mean, we wouldn't read the Bible together. I don't want Jesus in that area. Or however you make your money. Like we should start taking offering session here at Squad. Like, see how many y'all, is that a Benjamin? Like, what do you do recreationally that we, like, I don't want him in my business of how I make my money, but yeah, I like Jesus. He's fine. So just Squad, how comfortable are you with Jesus being in all the areas of your life? And maybe all of a sudden it triggers something where you're like, I am kind of a little uncomfortable with how little I include him in all the areas of my life. That's somewhere to start. And maybe if you're uncomfortable enough, you'll now be inspired to make a change. But that's you. We got to talk about this guy. It's not all about you guys, okay? Come on. Don't be so selfish. I'm just kidding. But verse 18, check this out. So here's what happens next. I love this part of the story as we conclude. As Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been, love that, oh man, that's that past tense, they'd been through his testimony already, but who had been demon-possessed, begged again. There's so much begging going on here. Everybody's begging Jesus. Begged to go with him. I love this because if you're Jesus, okay, and I'm begging, please let me go with you. The reason I'm begging to go with you is because I'm no longer comfortable with them. In this surrounding area, these tombs I've been living in, I'm not comfortable there anymore. I want to change, so I want to come with you. And I would think that my Lord and Savior, the Prince of Peace, right? Abba, Father, like insert all the Jireh, like every name you can think of God and Jesus. I'm just thinking that he's, of course, going to say, well, hop on in, grab an oar, let's go. But that is not what Jesus said. Jesus said, no. Jesus did not let him in the boat. That would be like me limping up to your car, right? I got on some used clothes because he was already naked in this passage. It's like, I'm just trying to put myself together, and I'm already like having a bad day. My ACL's torn, like broken calf. I get to your car, like, could you give me a ride to the doctor? And you're like, nah, that's gonna be a hard pass. Like, could we help this man out? Like, I know you like healed him from demon possession. Could we just one extra thing? And Jesus says no. But look at what he does tell the man. He says, go home. This is home. Go home to what you're familiar with. Go home to what used to entertain you. Go home to the people who were chaining you up. Go home to the people who know your reputation. I want you to go home to your own people and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he has had mercy on you. So Jesus, I don't get to go with and you want me to go back with I'm not very comfortable with that. But you know what? Last week's message, I realized the need I had and how much you've done for me. So I am inspired to do something for you. And now that I look at how uncomfortable those conditions were, I'm grateful for where I am now. And so this man, next verse, verse 20, check this out. Went away and began to tell one or two people, his best friends. He sent the Snapchat, but not to everyone so they could see it. It was just to like a couple of followers. Nah, this man told everybody. In the Decapolis, which is a name for these 10 villages, these 10 cities and communities around him. That's a lot of, hey, it's me. I know that I used to freak you out. I'm so sorry for that. Sorry for what I did to your dog. But I just had to let you know that this man, Jesus, he did some stuff for me. Just if you want to know more about him, I can tell you. Really, where's he from? I don't know that. Really, tell me, where did he originate from? I don't know that. Tell me some history about what he taught you. I don't know that. What do you know? I know what he did for me. You don't have to recite Genesis 1, verse 1. In the beginning was, like, you don't have to do all that. Tell me your favorite Bible verse. You don't have to do all that. Tell me what he did for you. And that's enough for me to lean closer and all of a sudden look around at what I have been comfortable with for so long and now say, I'm not very comfortable here anymore. Can you tell me more about that? How is it that you get angry? Like you used to get so angry, but now all of a sudden like you have a bad day and I can't tell it. Well, actually, that's because I'm just trying to live my life to honor him. And yeah, I get frustrated and angry, but hey, I know he's given me another day, so I just want to honor him because of his sacrifice for me. Can you show me that Bible verse? No, I can just tell you what happened to me. So he went to the Decapolis, and he told how much Jesus had done for him. And all, somebody say all the people were not impressed, uninspired, lackadaisical, had their ear pods in, they were not paying attention. No, they were amazed. So amazed that if you happen to have read chapter 5 this week, and then you go to chapter 6 and chapter 7, what you're going to find near the end of one of those chapters is that Jesus comes back to that region, and when he steps off the boat, he has a crowd rush him, but this time they're not saying, hey, can you leave our region because of what happened to the pigs? This time, they brought their sick and said, could you heal them? How did they do that? The demon-possessed man. He actually did it. He actually went door to door saying, hey, you might remember me. Here's my story. And here's who did it. It was the guy that y'all ran off. Sorry about your economy. Sorry about your pigs. I'm so grateful to have my life. He did that for you. And so now it inspired them to be a little bit more comfortable with Jesus in their area. So squad, my last question for you. Is there someone in your life who maybe isn't all that comfortable with Jesus in their life that you could begin showing and sharing who Jesus is to you and what he's done for you to help them live inspired to include him? But it's going to begin with how comfortable are you with people in your life not knowing Jesus, not caring about Jesus. Don't beat them over the head with it. Don't make them feel bad about it. But purposely and intentionally having moments where you can say, I can talk about faith in this way. But it's going to depend on how comfortable you are in some of the most uncomfortable situations. Hey, thank you so much for watching this message at CrossPointe Church and our youth group. If you want to receive Christ as your personal Savior, we're so excited for you making that decision, but perhaps you want to know more about what that means and, of course, what's next. So please go to the description, check out those links, and find out more information, and, of course, reach out and we can schedule your baptism whenever you're ready. But thank you again for watching. Have a great rest of your week, and we love you guys.